Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining me today. This is trailertrashtim. I am so glad that you are here. I got an email yesterday from YouTube or early yesterday morning following the last video that I put up, and they told me that the last video that I put up on YouTube had been demonetized, and it was demonetized because evidently I put up some video that I don't know if it was a copyright issue. Uh, the email was a little cryptic, I suppose. I didn't play any. I know you can't play music on YouTube, certain music, copywritten music, or they'll give you a strike and three strikes and they you're out of the ball game. I didn't get a strike, but that video was demonetized. I've been trying to add some media and video to my videos to make them a little more colorful, a little fuller. So I don't know the thing about demonetization. I only make pennies on YouTube anyway, so that doesn't bother me. I don't want to get in trouble with anybody. So I don't know. I've got more media in this video, so we'll just see what happens. It's not that big of a deal whether I can keep on doing it or not. I don't know. I don't understand YouTube's rules, the alphabet company, Google. But anyway, I don't want to put a target on my back, but we'll just carry on and see where things go. And if I'm getting in trouble, I'll just have to stop using media, I suppose. I don't know. There's tons of video or channels out there that use media, so I'm not sure what the rules are. But anyway, I don't want to get bogged down on that. All right. I want to get to some examples of Trump derangement syndrome, TDS. Now, as you know, as you probably know, if you're in America, you probably know, you should know that recently we had a Supreme Court decision that dealt with the issue of presidential immunity. And the Supreme Court basically said, in layman's terms, that presidents do have immunity, legal immunity for their actions, I suppose, generally speaking. And so my question would be, what does that mean? They can do anything? I mean, can they do anything? Are they completely immune from prosecution? I believe the answer would be that it would be a case-by-case basis. I'm not sure. But this much I do know. In light of the court decision, which may be somewhat of a double-edged sword, I know this much. The people who have TDS are losing their ever-loving, cotton-picking minds. But then again, it doesn't take much for them to lose their ever-loving, cotton-picking minds because they ain't got much to work with in the first place. They are so driven by hatred for Donald Trump. They are unhinged, and it's not rational. I'm going to talk about that in a few minutes. It's not logical. It's not based in reality. There's no reason for them to feel the way about Donald Trump that they feel. But I want to, in light of this ruling, I want to show you what a couple of Democrats have had to say. And this is just mind-boggling to me. Let me bring on Zoe Lofgren. Zoe Lofgren is a Democratic congressional representative from the Golden State of California. And I want you to listen to what Zoe Lofgren says in light of the Supreme Court ruling.
I guess, theoretically, President Biden, acting within the scope of his official duties, could dispatch the military to take out the conservative justices on the court, and he'd be immune. I guess,
Okay, there you have it. Zoe Lofgren of California. She said that Biden, acting within, I guess she's playing devil's advocate or whatever, Biden acting within the scope of his official duties could dispatch the military to take out the conservative justices. She's being asked about this Supreme Court ruling, and this is her response. She says that acting within the scope of his official duties, Biden could dispatch the military to take out the conservative justices of the Supreme Court. Do you want to know where all the outrage in the media to this comment, be it tongue-in-cheek or not, do you know where all the media outrage is? Virtually non-existent. Now, I want you to imagine this scenario, please, ladies and gentlemen. Imagine that Donald Trump were in office and a more conservative member of Congress, and the Supreme Court gave this ruling while Trump was in office, and a more conservative member of Congress came out and said the same thing, worded with different players. They said Trump, acting within the scope of his official duties, could dispatch the military to take out the liberal justices on the court. Then you would see unhinged outrage in the media. If a conservative or Republican congressman said what Zoe Lofgren said about Trump, what she said about Biden, the liberals in the media would lose their minds, and we all know this. But Zoe Lofgren, Democrat of California, can say something like this, and there'll be no repercussions. There'll be no sanctions. There'll be no censorship. As people may say, well, she's not serious. I mean, she's just giving. Folks, I understand that. My point is, if a Republican said something like this with a Republican in the White House, it would be an utter outrage on the part of the media and on the part of the Democrats, and everybody knows it. But because it's a Democrat saying it, Zoe Lofgren, she gets a pass. All right, let me give you another example of another lib who has lost her ever-loving mind, and I'm talking about good old Rosie O'Donnell. I remember Rosie O'Donnell when she first got started as a MTV VJ back when MTV played music videos. This was back in the early 80s. I don't even know if MTV's still around. I guess they are, but I don't think they're playing music videos anymore. But this is good old Rosie O'Donnell. Bless her heart. She's just depressed. Listen to what Rosie has to say.
Those are the squirrels talking. They probably want more walnuts. All right, I'm going to go feed them. Listen, I'm depressed myself, but I'm trying to tell you out there, if you are, you got to hold on. We've survived all the depressing days so far. We'll survive this one. Reach out for your friends for help. Tell the people that you love how you feel. And know that this country, I believe, is going to right itself and oust him for good in November. And boy, I pray. That's all I got to say. Tick-tock, you don't stop.
Poor old Rosie. She's just depressed. Oh, hang on. I got to get rid of her. Bye, Rosie. Poor Rosie. She's so depressed. She just can't imagine that Trump would get back in office. God forbid. I've got a question to ask of any liberal that acts like this, that has Trump derangement syndrome, like Zoe Lofgren or Rosie O'Donnell or any of these other people. And listen, just for one moment, try and be reasonable and try and be logical about Donald Trump. You people that have Trump derangement syndrome, why do you hate Donald Trump so much? What is it? This is just inexplicable to me, this hatred of Donald Trump. What has he done to cause you to hate him so much? Is it because he's a highly successful businessman? Is it because he's an alpha male? Is it because he's brash and bellicose and he speaks with authority and he's a man's man and he's not a wimp like men are apparently supposed to be these days? Why do you hate Donald Trump? Because he's more successful than you are? Why? It makes no sense. There's no rational, logical explanation for why you would hate Donald Trump. It just makes no sense to me whatsoever. I've talked about this before, but I have said that I'm not the biggest Trump fan in the world. I do not have TDS. I have issues with Donald Trump on the issues, on matters of policy, which I can discuss rationally and unemotionally if I could sit across the table from Donald Trump, we could have a normal conversation that isn't full of venom and hatred toward the man. I know Donald Trump's not perfect. Neither am I. I know he's done some dumb things in his life, as have I. And I have different ideas about government and policy than Donald Trump does. I disagree with Donald Trump on a lot of things, but I don't hate Donald Trump. Donald Trump. And this is the part that is just difficult to understand. Why people hate this man. Is he such a threat to you that it elicits this response? What has he done? Where's the record that causes this response from you? What has he done in the past to cause you to hate him? Well, what exactly has he done? What do you think he's going to do? These libs that say he's going to rule as a dictator, based on what? The truth of the matter is that Trump governed when he was president as a moderate. You can't point to me any matter of policy where he was an extremist in one way or another, unless you want to talk about fiscal policy, then you may have a point. But on matters of policy and on the major issues of the day during his 4 years in the presidency, where is the extremism? Is it extreme because he says, make America great again? Do you dislike him because he speaks in a demeaning manner to some of his political enemies, and that gets your feelers hurt? There is no rational, logical explanation for Trump derangement syndrome. None whatsoever. I can look at Donald Trump logically and objectively and say, I believe Donald Trump is right here, and I believe he is wrong here, but there's no hatred in me when I say that. If this November election was between, say, Donald Trump and Vivek Ramaswamy or Rand Paul, I would be pulling the chain for Vivek or Rand every single time with no hatred in my heart toward Donald Trump. The bottom line is, it's Trump versus Biden, and there's the choice. I'm not gushing with affection toward Donald Trump, but I'll damn sure vote for him for obvious reasons. So the Trump derangement syndrome remains unexplained. And poor Rosie O'Donnell, honey, you need to go get some medication, I guess, or a dose of common sense, because you ain't making any right now. Go feed your squirrels. Okay, let's move on to Alex Berenson. Alex Berenson is a former New York Times reporter, and he is a neurologist. He's also a Democrat. He's a liberal, and he always votes for the Democrats. He voted for Biden. He's not a complete and total 100% whack job. Berenson is a man who questioned the narrative on the scandemic of a few years ago. He asked the wrong questions and got booted off of Twitter at the time. But he's back on Twitter ever since Elon took over. But Alex Berenson was writing the other day, and he was right after the last debate, and he wrote about the debate and Biden's obvious mental decline and or neurological decline. And he received an email from a neurosurgeon. And the neurosurgeon said to Alex Berenson, I want to give you a thumbs up on your diagnosis of the POTUS. He undoubtedly has Parkinson's disease and is increasingly suffering from Parkinson's dementia. This is a neurosurgeon talking. The signs are unmistakable. His shuffling gait, the absence of associated movements, facial expressions, and arm swinging. When he does swing his arms, it appears stilted, probably because his handlers have told him to swing his arms when he walks. It's something we all do naturally, but it goes away in Parkinson's disease. He has gait instability and a soft voice. He has on and off periods, times when the medication seems to be working well and when it isn't, which also explains how a good dose of Cinemet times right could get him more animated. That must be a medication. Also, a resting tremor is not prominent in Biden's case, but this is true of many cases of Parkinsonism. His physicians undoubtedly know this, and it is unconscionable that we do not know this about his health record. I understand HIPAA issues, but this is worse than the Roosevelt secret. He couldn't walk. At least he had his mind about him. Here we have someone with cognitive issues with his hand on the nuclear button. And Alex Berenson followed up with this neurosurgeon, and he asked him a couple of other questions about Parkinson. And I won't get into that, but the neurosurgeon replied to Alex, Parkinson's is largely a clinical diagnosis, meaning it is diagnosed from a neurological examination and history. There are no blood tests. So life expectancy is difficult to predict in Parkinson's disease. People can live many years, and the disease can accelerate quickly near the end or progress relatively slowly in early stages. My prediction is that the president will have increasing troubles walking over the next 6 months, eventually needing some sort of assistive device. His dementia will probably advance during that time as well. We are not seeing the same Joe Biden of even a year ago. This is obviously an educated guess on my part, but I've spoken to many colleagues who feel the same way about his appearance. His gait and his expressionless face, called a poker face in Parkinson's literature, are quite classic. That is from a neurosurgeon talking about the matter with Alex Berenson. Now, as I pointed out in my last video, Jill Biden is a cruel woman. The First Lady of the United States, the wife of Joe Biden, she is a cruel woman. To subject her husband, who this neurosurgeon says what to me is obvious, that the man has at least Parkinson's disease or some sort of cognitive issue here. To subject this man to the presidency in this sort of mental state and medical condition is, to me, unconscionable. This is a woman who obviously has such a lust for power and position that she will do anything to keep this man propped up so that she can latch on to the position she has as First Lady. She doesn't care about her husband, obviously, in my opinion. She sure as hell doesn't care about the American people. And what this neurosurgeon said is exactly right. Can you imagine us getting into a nuclear exchange with a president who has Parkinson's disease, for heaven's sakes? Why is not cackling Kamala Harris invoking the 25th Amendment as she could do? Why are there not impeachment hearings right now when the safety of over 330 million Americans and more is at stake? Where is the outrage? Where is somebody who's got the guts to stand up and do the right thing? We got, 6 more months of this? Can we make it 6 months with this man in the White House? All right, let me move on to maybe some cheerful news. Look, there's all sorts of polls out there predicting what's going to happen this November. I don't know. I don't know what you want to believe. You've got Gallup. You've got I can't think of the name of it. It starts with an R. It's not Reuters. This I'm going to show you. Rasmussen. USA Today polls. Well, this is a poll that was released by Reuters. If you're a Trump fan, this is going to make your day. Check this out. This poll released by Reuters shows Trump winning the election in an electoral landslide of 312 to 226. Now, it takes 270 electoral votes to win the presidency. This has Trump basically sweeping the nation with the exception, of course, of the lunatic left coast states, Oregon, Washington, California, New York, and most of New England. This has him losing Colorado and Illinois. Minnesota is in play here. But this, if this is to be believed, this is an electoral landslide. It shows Trump leading Biden in 7 swing states by an average of 6 points. Folks, this is terrible news for Biden. This map shows Trump, how Trump will win in a landslide in the Electoral College if the numbers hold true. So that is what we're looking at. According to Reuters, it is going to be a Trump landslide. I hope they are right. We don't need a victory in November. We need a landslide, and we need it up and down the board. We need to take the White House. We need to take the Senate. We need to take the Congress. And then we need to get some Republicans to find their spines and do some things that have got to be done in this nation. All these lunatic people with TDS that are accusing Trump of acting like a dictator. Hey, go ahead, Trump. That's what I'm saying. Go ahead. Act like one. They're going to say it anyway, right? So just go ahead. Listen to Vivek Ramaswamy and get rid of the deep state. Get rid of these bureaucrats that never leave Washington, and we'll all be better off. Let me hear your comments down below. I would love to hear what you've got to say about today's video. Hey, folks, please make sure you like this video and subscribe to the old Triple T channel if you would, please. I would be most grateful to you. If, where is my card? My card is here somewhere and I don't see it. Oh, well. If you would like to purchase the best health and nutritional supplements at wholesale prices, go to jointriplet.com and check out Live Good. The link is down below. All the other relevant links you want to get a hold of me, buy me a coffee is all down there. Since YouTube is demonetized, it's just me and y'all. So anyway, that's what's going on. Thank you so much for joining me. This is Trailer Trash Tim, and I will see you soon.